All right. Hello and welcome back. I'm Sacha Sterling.
And I'm Lindsay Martin Ellis, week 2. Whoop, whoop.
Week two of our experimental collaborative podcast series. All right, we're going to get started just taking 3 breaths, letting your body breathe herself or yourself, you listening, however your body wants to breathe itself right now. Hmm. Hmm. Whew. All right. Well, my body, that felt good. We just moved. We're in the process of moving as we record this. I'm on the floor in our old house and we're all going on little sleep over here. And Merrick, my little baby, was so pissed off because his routine was disrupted. He's had such a blessed, rhythmic life so far. And he was like, he wanted to just, he was so upset being in his car seat so much, going back and forth. And oh my gosh. So, anyway, but I am committed. I'm here and I'm so excited for the conversation we're going to have, Lindsay.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, when we were off record, I was just celebrating Sasha for showing up today because I know what it's like to move. I'm becoming an expert at moving, and yeah, the energetics of it and how demanding it is. And you have 3 children, one being an infant, and it's disruptive, and it's disruptive to the nervous system. So I don't know. I don't know where we're going to go today, but we have fun things going on with our living situation. So
Mhm.
we'll see where you want to take us today, Sasha. What's most alive for you?
Absolutely. Nervous system is such a great conversation.
Yeah.
We just in the US here had election week, and I know that that is such a big topic around for so many women I've talked to around how to balance caring about the bigger issues and the bigger, right, the collective conversations, and then bringing it back into body, nourishment, family, like focusing on what we can control. So maybe we just start there. How are you feeling after this big week?
Yeah. And you know what's funny is time is weird right now for me. Like, I almost forgot about the election today for the first time in however many days. It's been what, like probably 5 days. And it's been it's it's been challenging because I feel so deeply. And I feel like there were things that I was carrying this week that weren't even mine, like even just showing up for normal practices, being on social media. I was feeling triggered in a lot of ways. Like I was feeling, right. It's so divisive that there were times where it like brings me back into questioning myself and my beliefs and the decisions that I made for who I chose to vote for. And a lot of fear came up around belonging and um, just having this deep desire to be in connection and communication and integrity and feeling this fear of losing relationships. And there was a lot of nervous system stuff that came up, and every moment and every day was really different. I actually took quite a bit of time off. I took a few mental health days where I just left the house and took my babe to the park and put my phone was on airplane mode, honestly, a lot because it was just too much. And I think it's important to talk about because you and I believe we are resourced in so many ways and we know how to center and support. And I think oftentimes when I'm in those situations and it can feel like too much, I'm trying to like rush it instead of creating the space to feel. And so towards the beginning of the week, I was trying to rush it, like, why isn't this working? And then towards the end of the week, it was like, what if I just like gave myself space to just be and feel? And not try to rush it and not try to fix it. And I started to feel better by just being in relationship with it. So I'll hand that back over to you. But it's been a challenging week, and I've noticed moments of judgment. It's like, ooh, am I judging this person? Am I doing to them what I'm afraid of other people are doing to me? Wow, people are so triggered and people are in so much fear. And projecting what they believe the future is going to hold, where none of us really know. And then I'm like, wait, I'm in judgment again, right? It was quite a, I almost want to say a vicious cycle. It was pretty wild. So in this moment, I'm feeling good. And I believe it's because I gave myself space and I stopped trying to do anything.
So brilliant. So brilliant. Yeah, it was quite a week. I had a courageous conversation with a woman I really respect, who's a big empowerment icon, and I'm collaborating with her as well. And I felt really called to speak my truth
Mm.
politically. And I don't talk politics. Like I,
Yeah.
as a role, just don't. And it felt so much. And I was shaking. It was on
Mm.
Zoom. And she was like, oh my God, I felt you through the thing. It wasn't even that she was judging. It was like I knew, but she's not in the US. So it's like the outside in. And it was so interesting. I was like, wow, that felt like
Wow.
it felt like a self-honoring for my little girl.
Mm.
Like so much for me thematically this calendar year has been around seeing myself in present time. So it's just another opportunity. I'm a big believer of really consciously crafting our outlets of activism. And for me, prayer is my one of my forms of activism. And so I've just doubled down on lighting candles, praying, and doing what I need to do to maintain the resonance of frequency that I know is productive to myself, my family, and the community. And knowing, like, yeah, this is none of us are here to, I think you said last week, right? Savor, not savior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so good. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad we're talking about this because I think this is a conversation that could be really supportive. Well, first of all, there's two things that came up in what I've felt for so long because we've really had so many opportunities, so many instances, so many experiences where things that are happening in the US over the last several years and globally, there's a lot of things to fight for. There's there's a lot of yeah, initiations that are happening and a lot of disruption and a lot of things that are really disheartening, especially now that I'm a mother, a lot of scary things that are happening, a lot of things that are not in service to love. And knowing when what is my role in all of it and how societally I feel like what's happening is people are expecting anyone that has influence, which I believe we all do, right? We all have social media, so we all have a voice, but people are expecting us who share things that we're passionate about and that are meaningful to us, put this like blanket, you've got to talk about it all, right? Or like there may be one topic where I'm standing on the front lines because it's something that's really important to me and something I value. And then other times I'm in deep prayer. And other times I'm having conversations behind the scenes with my sisters. And other times I am publicly talking about it. And other times I'm working through it in my relationship with my family unit. And I think that this is something that I feel extremely passionate about is as we're talking about integrity is knowing what is the come from? Are we doing this because there's an expectation, right? Of showing up in this way, of having a voice, of having an opinion, of choosing one way or another, or is it more an integrity for us to be in deep prayer? So I don't know if there's anything that you want to speak to with that, but I know in the beginning of my journey, I have been shadow banned before. I've had I've been censored online and I have had people upset with me for saying things and not saying things. And sometimes I feel like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And it's going back to the nervous system, it's challenging to be visible because there is an expectation and you are going to ruffle feathers and people are not going to like what you have to say. And also people are also not going to like your silence. So yeah, I kind of want to take it there.
Mm, yes. And I think it's really tied to receptivity, which I know is one thing that you had mentioned that we were maybe going to touch on around what am I available to receive? Just be, especially for deep feelers.
Yeah.
having discernment around what we're available to penetrate us and impact us is really a survival strategy, a thriving strategy. And so for myself, it's like, yeah, what matters and what doesn't. And
Yeah.
yeah, I've been really inspired by you around embracing social media and using your voice online so consistently. And I've wondered about that. Like, how does that actually influence you when people that maybe you care about their opinion, maybe you don't, or, have something to say, and that damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of a paradox with the current communication style that I don't think is going anywhere. I think it's just going to be speeding up. I don't think the internet's going anywhere.
No. And if you think about it, there's billions of people that have access to this platform when that wasn't the case before. And so anyone can stumble across what you're sharing and knowing that they may not be ready for it or it may not be aligned and it may not be for them. And yet people will still voice their opinion and it hurts. And I've been studying this a lot where like biologically we're mammals and like it lives within our DNA that when we don't belong, it literally translates as we are going to die. Like the pack is going to leave us, right? Like it's a survival mechanism to be in community, to belong to something, to have that connectivity. And so when it's such a it's such a delicate dance. And what's challenging for me is, and I think this is important to talk about too, on a soul level, my soul is the amount that I show up on social media is like just scratching the surface of how much on a daily basis my soul is like begging me to expose myself in this way. And also knowing that I'm human and that I get to do it at my pace. But I think this is powerful because I've been really called to actually share my decisions for voting the way that I have. And I know that it's not time yet. But really like coming from this place of this is why I chose this and these are my values. And I also value, right? Like I also am trusting in what you value and trusting why you made the decisions that you made. And coming from this place, I can like see what I'm sharing, but it feels scary to do. And it's okay. I'm willing to put myself out there. And if you don't accept that, I get to be okay with that. And I really hope that this drives curiosity and an openness of diversity because I truly believe diversity is what unifies us. And so I'm not there yet. Actually, you and I have had conversations, and of course, we are in alignment with how we chose to vote. But what's funny is when I was feeling really overwhelmed by life, I had a conversation with a sister that was already scheduled of just a catch up. And we were talking. It was the day after the election, and she thought I voted one way. I didn't know what the way that she voted, but she was like, I'm feeling really safe to tell you how I voted. Will you receive me? And she's like, and I think it's differently than you. And sure enough, she told me, and we actually did vote similarly. And the fact that we created this container of not knowing, and the same thing with you and I, like we didn't actually know and we chose we felt safe enough to express in that way knowing that regardless of our choosings we were in alignment. I have had two other sisters who voted differently than me and have had very beautiful conversations. The first one where it was very neutral from the start and the other one where it was very she was very triggered, and at the end of it it turned into like a beautiful deepening in our relationship. And so that feels like my leadership right now is having these conversations, which you did as well, where my voice shakes, where I'm willing to go there not knowing how it's going to be received and that potentially that could sever the relationship in some way. And that feels like the work for me right now to practice and then eventually being more visible. And I think as things start to settle a bit more, because right now it's still very fresh. So I wanted to put that out there as well, that there's
Yeah.
different ways to lead and to show up.
So my kids go to, there's a memory coming up that I want to share. My daughters go to a leadership school. It's very like it's where Waldorf picks up. So anthroposophy, Waldorf was like birthed in the Industrial Revolution, and then this educational model is where that ends, that merges the fact that we're in the information age. So it's very progressive and very alternative. And we were at a gathering maybe 6 months ago, and it said, "What do you want most for your children?" And it just popped out. I want them to feel a sense of belonging in the world. And all of the learners were out of the room. That's what they call them, learners. There's no teachers, there's guides. Anyway, the learners come back in and see that on the board, and they're scrutinizing all the things us parents said. And one very inspiring 15-year-old said, "Belonging? Why would I want to feel a sense of belonging in a world that's broken? I want to create. I want to create." And she had this whole download, and I just was like, wow, it really changed my perceptions and assumptions. And I've really, since then, I oriented to my sense of belonging, which was already underway, but like, yeah, I belong because I'm home wherever I go. I am my family. Like, so it's like, what is our mission? Like, what is our purpose? What is our self-appointed purpose or mission or priorities? And right now, with the state of the world, the young people, especially because I'm really surrounded by 14, 15, 16-year-olds, it's like their perception of the world is so different than it was for me as a young person emerging. And so my assumptions around belonging have been undergoing radical reexamination. And so I just felt called to share
Ooh.
that.
Oh, that's so powerful. Well, even the fact that you're talking about, right, like the Waldorf, right, when things are birthed, it's during that era. And it's like how I feel about human design, like the I Ching, human design, and the gene keys. It's like when the level of consciousness shifts, like that old structure then begins to dissolve and mutate. And the fact that you're so aware in that way of like, wait, there's some outdated systems here that it's constantly needing to be looked at of like, is this still true now? And I love that you've been such a model to me of how to mother, to allow what these children are coming in with that we don't understand, just like our parents couldn't possibly understand our level of consciousness. So, oh, this is where I just have so much trust and hope and faith in like we're never going to get this wrong. Like I don't know, like there's evolution on the other side of it, even though there's going to be heartbreak and even though there's going to be a lot of disruption and dismantling along the way, I just can hold on to that. Oh, that's so powerful. It just excites me for being a mama now of like, what is my son what's gonna come out of his mouth?
Totally. And of course, healthy attachment, sense of
Yes.
belonging with our safe chosen others. But I think to touch back on what you said, it's like trusting, if there are seasons where people who are no longer in resonance, we're not in direct relationship. Yes to the oneness, yes to loving all, but it doesn't mean that everyone's in our inner circle, or like, because I really do believe we are radically influenced by people we spend time with. And so being okay with that, like, and I love that you're open to like being in the relational field with people and that curiosity. And so there's room for all of it for sure.
Yeah.
Discernment, though, I'd say discernment around what are we receptive to is something that I think is really important at this time for women, for sensitive, spiritual, powerful women, leaders, emerging leaders, is because we have so much power, and we can just like turn that dial. We can turn the radio dial, we can turn the TV station, whatever we want to do. It's like, what? So just because we can adapt and relate to it, do we want to? Like remembering how much control we have to turn the station, I think is really important right now.
Yeah. And what I keep getting from spirit is like, for example, integrity, transparency, honesty, us having conversations where our voices shake. It's like you said, I get to decide as a human with a personality how deep, how quickly I want to evolve on a soul level. And as long as I'm showing up in alignment with what feels resonant for why I'm here individually and for the collective, I know that I, again, can't get this wrong, right? So sometimes I feel like it's a little speedier. And other times it's like, okay, am I being authentic in this moment? Like, what is authentic in this moment? And that also feels good because it's like, I know that the universe is going to keep meeting me and supporting me with people, opportunities, relationships, um, synchronicities of like, you're on path, you're on path, you're on path. And I think that's really helped me soften in, I don't have to rush through this. And me being me in this moment is more than enough. Being a mama, being here with you, like I get so lit up. I'm like, ooh, this is going to be a fun conversation today. And then I think the last point I want to make is, do you believe, I'm curious, well, I'll let you, if there's anything you want to add, but then I have a question for you.
Go for it. The question.
So I feel like we're now tying into, like, I feel like we're being led into this receptivity conversation that we kind of touched on last week. But when you were talking about belonging, right? And so I do believe that this is something that is challenging for some people. And it's something that I've felt as I've been really doing the inner work in terms of like, I belong to myself. Like, that's one of my mantras. Like, I belong to myself. And so, absolutely, do I love my beloved partner? Yes. Do I love being a mama? Yes. Do I love having my relationship with you? Yes. Do I get to call in more soul family? Yes. But there's something where there was like a looking outside of self to fill a void that I felt incomplete with. And so I'm curious, do you believe that the more that you've truly connected in with yourself and done the deep work and felt this like, I am because I am, therefore I get to have choice, right? Like this is where I feel like your codes and empowerment and having what we want. Do you feel that that's directly connected?
100%. So maybe 2 years ago, I it's a lot of spiritual work gets done. I do in my sleep. So like that liminal space, maybe like the 30 minutes before I woke up every day, every single day for 6 months, spontaneously, I was being repatterned by my higher self to orient up and down, like spirit self. And so my current logo is that it's like the infinity symbol up and down, like 10 times. And it, to me, it was like, it was a rewiring of, we love your love for humanity. Even my name, Sasha, means helper of mankind. Like it's very like hardwired into my codes to like be out, like, but I was orienting like from self out, like heart to heart. And so it was like, okay, like it's time to shift it. And so I'm forever changed. It's like that's when the Joan of Arc codes came in. I was like, gosh, like this like very like spiritual warrior kind of energy that's like mission driven in this different way. So yeah, so
Mm,
that feels like it wrapped something big up for me. And now it's like I'm on to the next mission where I feel impenetrable at the moment,
yeah.
deep, very impenetrable and certain around my divinity, and that it's not always going to be reflected how I want to in this human experience, but that's not the point. And so there's something where I'm not impacted by others in the same way that I
Mm,
was for the first like 37 years of my life. But I feel like I can make I have more choice. There was very important initiations at each step, like being initiated in all of those different places. For me at this moment though, it's very much just like me and spirit are like this, and everything else is just like,
yeah.
you know, going. Yeah. I mean, people say earth school. I think there's something to that. I don't know. I feel like those are old codes too, though. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Tell me more about the old codes. What do you feel, Earth School? Like, tell me more. I'm
Well,
curious.
I'm still playing with it. My mother-in-law, ex-mother-in-law, sorry. And my first mother-in-law, she had a lot. I mean, her wave of consciousness was so specific and true. And, like um, there's something, it's more than Earth school. Like we come here to just learn. I'm still working, I'm still in a dance with it. So I don't actually know yet. I just don't think it's that simple.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that simple. I think it's something else right now. Like, what is the purpose? If the purpose is to incarnate and evolve our consciousness, and like I'm so inspired by the heartbeat of consciousness itself and then how it's expressing individually. And I'm just like, what is the evolutionary desire at this time? Where is it going? What is the purpose of it right now? I think like you touched on, it changes. Like, what is the most current
Yeah.
wave of that?
For me, it feels like I'm here to create. Like it feels like this is the only place that I can actually, it's like materializing who I am. And that feels more resonant for me. Creation energy, right? It's like, oh, this is a place to truly play and be in relationship and create and self-express. And I do believe that that's more of the Aquarian energetics anyway, right? Again, going, it's like the individuated feels like higher self, higher self, human self, we, right? Heart to heart, heart to heart. And so I think we're like in a reversal time of yeah. We got to really like be in relationship with who we are and continue to keep going back. But it's so convoluted at times because it's like we're in relationship with it's like we learn through relationship, we're in relationship, but then it's like that continuing of that home coming back to self. So that's where
Mm.
it is school, but it's like that doesn't drive my why anymore. Like that doesn't light me up. It's just part of the creation process for me is knowing that, well, duh, like you're going to grow, you're going to learn, you're going to fall down. It's part of it.
Oh, yeah, I love that. That feels so true. I'm here to create. And that's the permission to be in the creative process is inherently
Yeah.
messy. Like that feels way more true. Yeah. I
I
love
think that's why we get along so well because even though it's painful at times, like we like revel in the mess, in the creation process.
Yes.
Um, I have another question for you. That's like, because I'm curious your thoughts on this. Like, I'm feeling that more recently now than ever, I've noticed it with the hurricane, I've noticed it with the election. Like, I can be in my triggers and I can be in the mess and it can feel sticky and uncomfortable and painful and excruciating. But like, I'm it's almost like I'm dancing with my human self and higher self at the same time. Like there's no separation. And I have the awareness at the exact time that I'm experiencing something. I want to know if that's happened for you. And yeah, I'm just curious.
Definitely, 100%, and so much so that it actually can be shadowy because I experience pleasure and ecstasy and bliss in most emotional states, and that's how I spiritualized my active alcoholism for so long, was because
Mm,
because I knew how to do that.
mm.
So yeah, it's it's once we know how to get ourselves into a certain state on demand, then it's really playing. It's like we're in conscious co-creation, and they absolutely mix 100%.
It's so nuanced. It's so interesting because I feel like, oh, it's so simple and then also so complex at the same time as we're diving deeper. What would you say for anyone who's maybe in a similar energetics around um yeah, I'm just curious because I feel like this could be supportive for me and I think I'll just talk about my relationship with food. Like it's been happening lately where I notice like, oh, so for me there's like when I go into fear, my body is like, I need nourishment. I need to feel safe. And I immediately feel like my energy is low. I feel like my blood sugar, I just can feel this spiking of I need nourishment now. And it's like fear food, fear food, fear food. And I've noticed like it's so much more fewer and far between, but it still happens. And I'm in this state now where I'm like I have really conversations with myself, like, well, it's less than it used to be. And like I see the like bigger picture here. And then there's parts of me that's like, am I self-judging? Am I wanting myself to be different? Am I not accepting this part of me? So I would love, yeah, like I would love your perspective on it. And maybe for anyone else that's in a space of like, we all know where we go to numb out and to not feel. And I think it's part of our past protections, but I'm in a space now where I'm like ready to fucking let it go. So maybe I can learn something from you.
Hmm. Yeah, well, not making our humanness wrong, which I know we both share that. And I'd say the quick scan I do, because I am very grateful that I am sober. I'm alcohol free now for like a year and a half.
Mm.
And it was really important for me. It ran its course and then was like detrimental. It was like it wasn't serving me. And so just, yeah, just that, like, is this causing me more harm
Yeah.
than good? And just really being in that like self-parenting place with our choices, because yeah, it's okay to find comfort in this wild human experience. I think in all of the creature comforts, and then it's just knowing, it's like that self-advocacy point around, is this hurting me more than it's helping me? And only we know that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, parts of self work, which is like a whole series
Yeah.
on itself that we could do. But yeah,
I love you.
I see you being very um, in curiosity with yourself around it. And having you release like 50 pounds without trying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's what's crazy.
wild.
It's like I'm trying, but like the come from is not, I'm not trying to look a certain way. It's like, especially so much of where I was able to really give myself space was in movement. And yeah, so I love that you said that. I feel like I'm just on the cusp of, is this like I feel the shift happening. So thank you. I like think like my Virgo son's like, I don't have to like judge myself for still being in this pattern. But I'm really close to that, like enough's a fucking enough energetics around it of like, this is not serving me.
Mhm.
Um, and noticing the parts of me that it's like, this is a non-negotiable, is my prayer practice, is nature. I mean, just connecting with the pulse of the planet and moving my body are the top two for me right now. And what's interesting is sometimes when I do feel like I want to go eat and I'm so malnourished and I feel so tired and thirsty and exhausted and hungry, I will move my body and I'll feel like a totally different person. So it's like a repatterning in real time right now of, oh, like I feel like there's a circuit, the circuitry is breaking
Mm.
and I'm in the middle of it.
The epic middle.
Mm.
It's good. Well, this is a shameless plug for all of Ada. I Part of my prep practices is I am really giving myself permission to embrace beautification, which is like really like my high priestess self, and like growing my hair really long, using my gua sha and doing my face oil rituals. And I am on like day 7 of the vitamin C serum,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
my skin is looking great. I've gotten so many compliments. So
Okay. Did you say you're growing your hair out again? Because so am I.
yeah, look how long it is already, but it's going longer. I'm going to the small of my
It
back.
is. I feel like,
Yeah.
I guess because, well, I don't know. Well, I
Pregnancy
also feel like
hormones.
I was gonna say postpartum, my hair's gotten really long as well, but I'm in a space of that too. I actually just put in my cart to get some facial cupping, which it's like things that I used to say I was too busy for.
Hmm.
Like, okay, where can I do some facial cupping with my Oliveda serums? Where can I,
Yeah.
like, even today, I just felt excited to put clothes on early and like put makeup on and feel like it's beautification again. I think what we're getting at here is this like it's the come from, it's that inner resource space of how do I want to feel and the frequency of it. And so it's like not rushing through my skincare routine. So it's like, can I allow myself to have more products? And I'm buying so much Oliveda and I'm just playing with like, how does my skin feel today? Like, what do oh, I want to feel bright. Okay. I want to use this mask. I want to take a bath and do this. I want to try facial cupping and see if I can create this beautiful massage experience. And I feel like, again, we're all being called more into that as we're honoring self, right? Like, it's like changing our relationship with time also.
I'm getting handed the baby.
Hi,
Oh,
Merrick.
that might be our cue.
That's our cue. Hi, beautiful boy. Yeah, so we'll continue. There's so much collaboration that Sasha and I are just saying yes to. And again, if you kind of want to be in our field and you want to play and collaborate, and again, this is around like not having separation. It's like all of it is separate, but it's also goes hand in hand with us really calling in our priestessing, right? Our sacred business, our play, our creation. It feels like creation energy. So if you want to be in the energetics of that and with a very low barrier to entry, you can play with us in Oliveda. And we're just exploring all the ways to play and collaborate. All right. Well, baby Merrick wants his mama. Anything else you want to say before we pop off?
Just that I pulled out my facial cupping set too.
I never had one. I'm shocked I never had one. So
I'm
maybe
like,
I'll,
I know,
yeah.
I'm like back in like, yeah, just loving my gua sha and really like doing my mirror work with my products and not rushing it. So,
Yeah. And I think it is important.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's it's part of it's part of yeah, just the honoring of self. And I think it's breaking out of old patterns of what we right, like it's so easy as a mother, especially with an infant, to say like I don't have time for this, and to really going deep in those practices has been supportive. So we'll put our links in the show notes below. I feel like we get to dive deeper maybe into receptivity. I feel like we needed to have this place first because we kind of just scratched the surface on what are we open and available to in our connectedness with it.
Yeah, and sorry for the screaming baby if he starts making noise. Just wrapping up like the current what is the like the most cutting edge women's empowerment movement, in my opinion, it's creating a life that feels good and true.
Mm,
And it's really then not about what it looks like to anyone else. It's
mm,
like it really is about is this authentic to me and does this feel good? And so I know that
mm.
weaves a lot of themes we've already talked about and so much more to talk about there too.
So much more. And thank you for taking the time out in the middle of your move. Sasha just called in her dream home. So let's celebrate her for showing up in the midst of moving and her commitment to this collaboration and showing up in this way. Cause it's easy to say like, I'm moving this weekend. I'm good. So let's all just shower her with some goddess glitter. And we love you, Merrick. And we'll catch you next week for another episode. Love you.